Upon his deathbed, the king gave the kingdom to his son, the island. But he gave Kamehameha, the Hawaiian war god. That was a symbol right there. That sign showed Kamehameha, if you want to be the king, you have to fight for it. And that's what he did. He was a conquering warrior. Imagine 1,000 war canoes landing on the shore. When they landed on the shores of Maui, he ordered all of his chiefs, war instructors, to flip the canoes, turn them over, capsize the boats. And he gathered all of his warriors and he said, "E mua e na puki'i, e inu i ka vai ava ava. A o e hope e ho'i mai ai. We're gonna win or we're gonna die." When you look yourself in the mirror, you have a better understanding of who you are, what you come from, what you can be. Hey, I'm not supposed to just be here. I'm destined for greatness because of the greatness that came before me.
This is how we do it, do it. This is how a kingdom comes. This is how we get it done. This is how we do it, do it. This is how a kingdom comes. This is how we do it, do it.
Aloha and welcome to Honolulu, Hawaii. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry, I'm going to continue to go to these rough locations to bring you these episodes each month. I've taken on that challenge and it's a burden, but somebody's got to do it. Super excited to come spend some time with my good friend Tommy Heffernan. Tommy's the head strength coach at the University of Hawaii. He's been there close to 30 years. I've gotten a chance to get to know him through the years. As a young strength coach, having a young family at the University of South Florida, I was inspired by his story of walking 37 miles and doing a fundraiser for his daughter who has special needs each and every year. He's been a good friend through the years. He's a phenomenal coach. This is going to be a great episode. Sit back and enjoy. Tommy!
What's up, man? How you doing?
Aloha!
Aloha.
Good to see you, man.
Thank you for coming out.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you having us. I'm so excited to see you.
We can go down and check out the facility and see what we can do.
Let's do it. Let's
All
do
right.
it. Let's check it out.
So this is our athletic training facility, 10,000 square feet, a lot of great equipment. Our old weight room only was 2,000 square feet.
Wow.
So we've come a long way as far as our space. And we also have another one, so we have actually two facilities we're working out of. We have great administration. I mean, they're always trying to figure out ways to get us funding so we can try and get the best equipment, put some new pieces in here that are functional. The main thing is functional. We don't have a lot of space, so we have to have a lot of equipment that's functional. We can run multiple teams in here at the same time. 21 sports, over 500 athletes, so sometimes we might run into at least 3 teams in here.
Yeah.
So the way we set it up is we have actually 3 sections where we can train multiple teams, mid-level teams with maybe 20 athletes. We have our dumbbell area, we have our middle area with the racks, and then we have our wood area. So if we have 3 teams come in, we'll accommodate them. If we have bigger teams, we'll take more of the weight room and limit the number of teams coming in to maybe 1 or 2.
Right.
We have a lot of Samson equipment, as you notice. Believe it or not, Brian Schroeder was my first GA.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Here at Hawaii. So we go back a long way. It was 18 sports and just 2 of us. So he was in the early stages with me,
So
doing sports on his own. So he has a lot of experience, and they do a great job with their equipment. Very functional, strong,
Right.
and most importantly, they're family business, so they give great customer service to us.
You know, I heard the kind of the island vibe to the music this morning. And
Well, definitely we have different types of music. Every sport, I mean, they have the different type of music they like to listen to, but I'll try and join my flavor. Every once in a while, I'll try and set the tone.
what flavor is that?
Well, I like to go Hawaiian island reggae.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I like to listen to rock. I mean, so I'll mix it up here and there. We'll go country. So, but I like I like variety.
You mentioned pride a couple times. you know, obviously I think you don't go 10 feet in this state, you know, without realizing that that's what the core value of the entire state is. Talk about Hawaii as a whole and the people that are coming to those games, supporting the Bows each and every week.
Well, we're the University of Hawaii, but really we represent the Pacific, I believe. Not only Hawaiians, but we represent all Pacific people, Samoans, Tonga, Tahiti, Fiji, New Zealand. And playing for the University of Hawaii means playing for all those people. I remember when growing up, me and my brother would go to all the University of Hawaii games. My dad would park outside, we would run in, save a parking spot, we'd be there before anybody else. And once the stadium opened, we would run in and we would actually watch the team come in. That's how early we were into the games.
Right.
And me and my brother would be at the tunnel, high-fiving all the players, and they would come in. And that's the memories I have of Hawaii football.
You know, how do you build trust with those players that fast, given that they have such a tight-knit community as it is?
I think the word is respect. You have respect for those players. Show them that you care about them. And I think once they get a feel of the person you're, not by the coach, but the kind of person you are, then that kind of opens up their eyes and their hearts to the true person that is you. Right. And I think that's my strength with our players is they know I'm going to coach them. I'm going to coach them hard. I'm going to be hard at times. I think they understand my true mission is to help them be better at what they are and help them be better people and hold them accountable for their actions so that they can be better, not only on the field, but off the field, in the communities, for their families, doing things the right way so that their family is proud of them. Because pride is probably a huge word for our people, because when you walk out there, you don't only wear the Hawaii, which is you represent the state and the culture, but you also represent your family, your community, the people of the village kind of raised you to the person you are. So I think having that whole mindset and understanding that I understand that, and I am about developing them as a whole. I'm a part of the village. I'm not the village, but I'm one part of the person in that village, trying to get you to that next step to make you a better person, and not only a better football player or baseball player, but I want you to be the best person that you can possibly say at the end. When you leave the University of Hawaii, you can say, I did everything I could, I worked as hard as I can, and the experiences and the things that I learned at the university is going to help me make me a better person.
Give me an example of how you showed one of those athletes that you care.
As you know, as coaches, you know our kids, they have a lot of things going on outside, not only in football or in class, but they have home life as well. And a lot of times, things happen at home, like a death in a family, or when you're having problems with the spouses, or you're having just the everyday things that everybody goes through.
Right.
And sometimes when I hear of things at home, and I hear of some of the negative things that's going on in their life, I'm not afraid to pull them on the side, give them a hug.
Right.
Just to show them that I care.
Why is that important to you? Why is it showing them that you care that important?
Because they're young men. And we all went through tough times in our lives. And I want them to know that when they go through those tough times, I understand. And they can pull through it. And it might look dark, and things might not be as good as it can be, but there's tomorrow, and we're going to fight through it, and you're going to get through it. And I try to tell them that these experiences, the hard ones that they go through, later on in life, they're going to look through it and they can say, you know what, that was rough, but I fought through it.
Right.
And it made me stronger, it made me a better person. So that's why I try to not only be a coach, but I try to be a mentor for them. I try to let them know that I care about them. And I care about their families.
Right.
And I think they appreciate that. I don't have to do that as a coach, but I feel it's my responsibility to be there in times of need. And I remember when I was young, my family life wasn't the greatest. I had problems, and I had awesome coaches that took care of me and my brothers when we needed it the most. And I remember that. I want to do the same for kids. when I see they're in need and they need somebody to step in and give them a hug, give them some encouragement to encourage them to move forward.
You know, you've mentioned quite a bit about the Hawaiian culture and being outdoors and all that. When it comes to physical fitness, I would imagine that that's a major part of the Hawaiian culture as well. I mean, it's a warrior culture. It's a very, like you said, very outdoors. How have you been able to blend your passion for the science of strength training with the culture of fitness that a place like this has?
Like I told you in our podcast, I try to incorporate a cultural component, not only about the physical, but the mental and the historical side of our islands, and tell them different stories about different kings, queens, ali'i. They came to this land, so they have a better understanding of who they represent. The last time I told you about Kamehameha, how he invaded Oahu from Maui. I'm going to tell you about Kekuaopio. The ali'i nui, they called them, or the high chiefs. They would have instructors assigned to them that would teach them different things regarding warfare, planting, the different seasoning, fishing. And for Kamehameha, he had his war instructor. His name was Kekuaopio. And for Kekuaopio, the last rite of passage or ritual or test he had to do to get to that level was called the Unihi Shark ceremony. And what the people did is they would kill a cow and they would bury it to get it spoiled. And then they would stuff the carcass with ava, the ava root, and they'll let it sit for a couple weeks. Then the instructor would take the student out on a boat, just the two of them, on a canoe, and they would paddle out to sea, hoisting the carcass on the boat. And then when they found the perfect spot, the instructor would cast the carcass into the ocean. And what they would do is wait for a certain shark, not any shark. It had to be a black shark, which is very rare. And once the instructor seen the black shark, then he knew it was time. And they would let the shark feed on the carcass to get a little bit tired and sluggish. And when the instructor thought it was time to go, he gave the student, which was Kekuaopio, a knife and tied his cordage to the boat and sent him off the boat. And his goal was to kill the shark and bring him back on top of the boat. And that was the only way to pass that test, to kill the shark and bring him back to the boat. They took it back into shore, and then they went to the heiau, or the Hawaiian altar, and they performed a ceremony in which the student ate the eye of that particular shark. And that was his graduation to becoming a war instructor. So, I mean, a lot of different things in this tale. It talks about how fierce and how fearless and confident our people were before, how much passion and pride they had in their work. So I think it's a very important for our student athletes to see what kind of culture we come from and see the people and chiefs and awesome people that represented our culture back then. I think once they get an idea of who they represent and the kind of pride that our people had in the past, I hope that sparks something in them that want to bring the best out of them and want to help them be better at what they do, not only as athletes, but as people and as students. I think with our profession, a lot of our success deals with winning and losing. And you're judged by how you do on the field, what kind of season you had, how many games you won, did you go to a bowl game? I think the lesson I learned from my kids is no matter what happens on the field, no matter what happens at work, how high or how low, they love you no matter what. My daughter, Hilinai, her name means faith. And ironically, Hawaiian culture, they believe when you name your kid, it's going to be tied to the name. So I'm going to get emotional talking about her. So when she was born, she had a rough birth, like I told you. She almost died. So Hilinai means faith, that we had faith that she would pull through. And she did pull through. And we're freaking so happy that she made it. And then outside of that, she has other challenges that she's special needs. She has some cognitive delays, development. Physically, she's limited, But outside of that, she's a great person, great girl. Big heart, super heart.
Yeah.
She loves her brothers and sisters. She loves all of our teams. She loves coming to work with me. But, so she has a condition, and we knew she was different when she was born. As she started to develop, we knew we have to make some changes. We got into early childhood education as soon as possible to get her as much help as possible. We got her in a great school here in Variety School that has all the therapists in session. And she's just a constant reminder to me of how fortunate I am, of how lucky I was to do the things that I do. And I gotta remind my athletes once in a while about how fortunate we are to do the things we do, because some people in life, they don't have that choice. That choice was made for them. And like my daughter. So that's the one thing that she reminds me about, how fortunate I am to do things I do. And constant reminder daily about there's other people in the world that are less fortunate, and we got to take advantage of what we have, our gifts and our abilities, and be humble, be grateful, give back to the community. Don't be afraid to do what is right. If you see something that is wrong, don't be afraid to go in there and step in and do what is right. We do an annual walk for her that I do every year. That's a constant reminder for me about not only her, but all the people in Hawaii, all the special kids in Hawaii who deal with daily struggles that we don't think of. It makes our problems so minute compared to the things that them and their families go through daily. So we do a walk from Haula, my hometown, to her school where we got a chance to visit. And that's a close to 40-mile walk. And I only do that once a year. And I tell myself, I do this once a year, and it's a struggle. But these kids do that every single day. So that's a great reminder for me. And it's good for my athletes to see her in the weight room because they understand her situation. And I mean, I think they love her. They treat her like it's their sisters. Our coaches are very accommodating. They let her come to practices. And she is UH's #1 fan on game day. She's a warrior. And I tell my son, you know what? Haley might be limited, but I hope you can have the heart that she has. She has a warrior heart.
Man, this has been awesome, brother. Appreciate you so much for having us. Just appreciate the passion you have for what you do, but more importantly, for your athletes, for your family, for your culture, man. And so I've just been terribly impressed with everything that you got going on and the great people here in Hawaii.
Well, thank you and PLAE for coming out and visiting us. We had a good time having you. Hope you learned a little bit about us, our culture, and how we do things in Hawaii. So
awesome,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, man. Take care.
All right, aloha.
See you, bud.
I mean, a strength coach is one title, but really, we're a lot of different things. We're coaches, we're mentors, we're friends, we're somebody's friend, we're their dad, some situations, we're a counselor. I mean, we're somebody they can come to in times of need, somebody they can confide in. We spend so much time with our athletes, more than anybody else, more than any other coach in the off season, and they see us more than anybody else. And we have the most effect, I believe, on their lives as they move forward through our programs. And it's very important that they see us as true people. And that's our job, is to be a true person, a well-rounded person that they can look to at any time, not only in times of training, but any time in their career at the university, they can come to us. And when they leave the university, they can come back and they say, thank you, Coach Tommy. Even when I see a lot of my athletes around, I get a big hug from them. Hey, how you doing, Coach? That's what it's about. It's not about now. It's about sending them off and letting them remember that you were there for the good and bad. And that's what they're going to remember most about us.
What an amazing experience to come down and spend a day in paradise, but more importantly, time with Tommy Heffernan. Here's a guy, in my opinion, that's figured out the secret. He's been at the same place for close to 30 years, and I talk a lot about the power of vulnerability, and Tommy's a guy that epitomizes what that means. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a strong man, but more importantly, he shows that he's not a robot, that he's a human being, and that he cares about his culture, his university, and his athletes. And I think that's what makes him great. It's been a great year. It started in snowy Colorado and it's finishing here in paradise in Hawaii. I'm so truly honored to have had the privilege given to us by PLAE and our sponsors to highlight the phenomenal people that we have in our profession. I'm so excited about PLAE Perform and Beyond the Chalk and where we're headed into 2018. Make sure you stay tuned. All right, babe, let's go.
This is how we do it, do it.